true live. As you say, I wasn't planning on going on live to do any like major training this evening. I'm wearing my pyjama bottoms. I've got anyone that's been to Florida, they'll know who this is. Like 10 out of 10 for points if you know who this little dude is. Do you know? Do you know who this is? I might say it on there. But I bought this t-shirt in Disney World. So I went all the way to Disney World and I did obviously get Mickey and Minnie stuff as well. Does anybody know who this is? I've been doing a bit of Florida reminiscing today. So extra points if you know who this little dude is. Or what he represents. Some food. Hi! Hello, hello. So, this is really impromptu because this is something that I read yesterday. Hiya! Okay, nobody's commented. So this is the Dole Whip chick from Florida. So when we were in Disney World, Dole Whip is like it's like an ice cream, but it's like it's not ice cream. It's a bit like sorbet, but it's amazing there. Like mango, like every. But anyway, this was the little mascot, and I just loved it, and it was pink and cute, so that's why I got the t-shirt. Anyway, didn't come on to talk about the Dole Whip chick. I came on to talk about Heidi and Orville, and I came on to talk about Scentsy and where Scentsy came from, and this is quite a long piece of writing, but I think it's really important, and I have been really, really blessed to meet Heidi and Orville a couple of times. Oh my god, Dole Whip's amazing. So I've met Heidi and Orville a couple of times. Sounds a bit echoey. Right, Claire, my phone, there's something wrong with my phone. Anyone that's spoken to me over the last couple of days will know that I need to take my phone back to Apple tomorrow. At the moment when I answer my phone, I can only, it will only work on speakerphone. So if it is a bit echoey, I do apologise. Something's wrong with my speaker on my phone. So I hope you can hear it to the level that I hope you can hear what I'm saying. So anyway, I know the Scentsy Story. I know the history. I've met Heidi and Orville at events. I've been to trainings with them. I've met them in person a couple of times briefly and shook their hand, and when Dan met them in Florida, he literally shook Orville's hand and just said, like, thank you for everything you've created for what we're experiencing now, and we are so thankful, as thousands and thousands of other people all around the world are. Oh no, that's amazing, thank you. I just let me know if you can't hear. It's good to know that it's not working really, because I do need to get it fixed because I haven't had it that long. So they need to replace it really, but thank you, my love. Okay, so I read this a couple of days ago about where Scentsy came from, and it kind of just occurred to me that there's probably, so I was probably in Scentsy for quite a while before I went to my first event, before I went to my training where one of them might have been speaking, or listened to one of their keynote speeches. If you've never listened to a Heidi and Orville keynote, they are honestly, they're just magical. And it occurred to me, we've got a lot of new consultants in here, and they might not necessarily, they know that Heidi and Orville Thompson are the CEOs of our company, but you might not know their story, you might not know their history, you might not know where they came from, you might not know what they stand for. And I just thought it was really important to, especially with the current times that we're in at the moment, for you to know this. And if you haven't heard this story and heard where they come from and what they're about, they are honestly the kindest, but at the same time most driven, family orientated people with the biggest hearts and the biggest passion for helping us. So every single thing that they do, every single thing that they stand for, it comes from the heart, and I'm so proud to be a Scentsy consultant. Like, I don't think I've ever been prouder to be a Scentsy consultant than I am at the moment, because in a time of huge adversity, in a time that they could never ever have seen coming, in a time that, like, literally our businesses could have folded, they are literally doing every single thing in their power to not just keep us surviving, but to keep us thriving. So yes, stuff's going out of stock, yes, stuff's taking a little bit longer, but isn't it better that things are taking 4 or 5 days longer to arrive, or people have to wait a few extra days for their product? But they're going to get their product, and they are going to get everything eventually. And if you're new, you might not know what Heidi and Orville stand for and who they are. So when I found this bit of literature yesterday about the kind of Scentsy Story. I did share it in my smaller team group, but as I was reading it out to Dan yesterday while I was cooking, I was getting really emotional and really choked up, because that is what it does. It literally hits me right in the heart. So I thought, do you know what? I want to come on and have this on here. I want to come and have this on here as a point of reference. So anyone, is it not working? There's something wrong with it. Oh, let me take you off my face and see. Let me know if that's better. I've taken the case off. This is wrong with the speaker on my phone. It's only working today when I was on the phone. When I was on speaker. So let me know if that's any better now I've taken the case off. Anyway, so I shared this yesterday, and it, like I said, it hits me right in the heart, and I thought this is something that some of you might listen to this and might think, yeah, that's interesting. Some of you, I'd like to think that it will give you a little bit of a, that's worse. Oh my God. But tell me though, guys, can you hear me at all? Because I don't want to start reading these if you can't hear me. I might need to come back if this isn't going to work at all. I might have to come and do it via my laptop. Let me know if you can't hear me at all, and I might have to come back and do this later or another time, which is a shame because I kind of felt like I was in my flow a little bit. Let me know if you can't hear me at all. You can hear me. Okay, I'm going to go for it. So, like I said, just giving you a little bit of a backstory as to why I wanted to do this tonight. You can hear me. Brilliant. Okay. And so why, like I said, when I was relaying this to Dan, it was literally getting me right in the heart, and I think it's so important that people hear this and people know what Heidi and Orville are about. And the Scentsy core values are of simplicity, authenticity, and generosity, and they are two of the most genuine people you will ever meet or ever have the pleasure to meet. Oh no, it's like I'm underwater. It's like I'm swimming. I'll pretend I'm swimming, and I'll get my phone fixed tomorrow. Okay, so for those of you that haven't heard the Scentsy story, here it is. It's very interesting. Okay, in 2003, Orville invested in a car wax infomercial that failed, leaving Orville and Heidi in £700,000 worth of net debt and on the verge of bankruptcy. Orville says about this time in his life, I was feeling beaten down as an entrepreneur and an absolute failure. And I remember thinking, why didn't I just become a dentist? Orville went to Heidi and said, we are really in debt. We should probably file for bankruptcy. To which Heidi replied, no, we're going to swing for the fence and we're going to swing really hard. And you'll see that when you go to events, when you go on incentive trips, like swing from the fences has become like a Scentsy slogan. So this is why. So she, and honestly, that woman is just phenomenal in her mindset. So in March 2004, without even enough money for the event sale checking account to pay for the rent on booth space, Orville attended a Salt Lake City, Utah home show. He wrote a check to the show promoter saying, this check is bad, it will bounce. Don't cash it, but please let me set up. I will buy this check back from you with cash by the end of the show. The promoter agreed. Orville set up his booth selling 64-in-1 video game controllers across the aisle from two stay-at-home mums who were selling decorative warmers designed to melt scented wax with the heat of a light bulb instead of a traditional wick and flame. Over the next few days, the wickless candle concept fascinated Orville. He struck up a conversation with the women during lunch break, and they swapped products. Orville traded a video game controller for a warmer, several wickless candle bars, and a set of scent testers. Now remember, at this point, Heidi and Orville were on the verge of filing for bankruptcy. They were $700,000 in debt. He took the products home to Heidi, who now admits she planned to toss them into the pile of other products Orville was fond of bringing home for her to evaluate after event sales. The products never made it to the pile of discards. Instead, Heidi fell in love with them. A few days later, after returning from the home show, Heidi was visiting and sharing the scent testers with her mum and sister. Orville left to run an errand and came home to find the women still smelling the testers, laughing and sharing memories. They were having a great time and something smelled delicious. He asked Heidi what she was baking and the women laughed. She told him it was a Scentsy candle bar called Banana Nut Bread. Orville was touched by the cosy scene and intrigued to see how different scents could evoke emotions and memories. He was energised by how natural it was to share those feelings and memories with others in the party environment. Orville and Heidi purchased this tiny company and moved Scentsy to Meridian, Idaho. Heidi quickly immersed herself in her new venture. She was in love with Scentsy products and determined to see the company succeed. Heidi's participation in the business would prove invaluable. While Orville travelled for event sales, as he did each summer, Heidi took over the financial books and began researching different business models, including direct selling. She learned about the Direct Selling Association and was impressed by the DSA's high level of support for its members. But what really drew her to the DSA was the organisation's code of ethics. Heidi convinced Orville to attend the DSA's national meeting in New Orleans, even though he thought the expense was considerable. In fact, Orville and Heidi now laugh that they had to rub their remaining credit cards together to come up with the funds for Orville to attend that meeting. And that's where the idea to launch Scentsy as a party plan company was formed. Orville and Heidi learned everything they could about the direct selling business model and how it worked. They realised how well the model suited the wonderful experience the women in Heidi's family had shared in her kitchen with the Scentsy testers. On July the 1st, 2004, Orville and Heidi launched Scentsy as a party planning company. Driving to Salt Lake City to meet with potential Scentsy consultants that day, they created the company's mission statement. To bring value to the world by providing an industry-leading, family-friendly business opportunity, selling creative, artistic, high-quality products that warm the heart, enliven the senses and inspire the soul. Scentsy's first home was a 40-foot metal box. So this here, no, not that one. I've ruined the moment. This is where Scentsy started. If you haven't seen that image, I want you to remember that image. When I say to you, from small acorns, mighty oaks can grow, I want you to remember this image. This container is where Scentsy started. Okay. They had been sitting on the family sheep farm in Meridian, Idaho. Orville had secured the farm and started raising sheep when he felt discouraged with his failing event sales business. It was his way to reconnect to a time when he felt inspired as a successful entrepreneur. Now it was time to sell the sheep and get to work. Because they were deeply in debt with no credit line or means to take on investors, Orville and Heidi had no choice but to bootstrap. They used what they had, including converting a mouse-infested ocean container into the home office, and worked tirelessly nearly around the clock to launch their company. By October 2004, Scentsy had outgrown the container on the farm. Orville and Heidi signed their first lease and moved into a 1,800 square foot warehouse and an office facility on Franklin Avenue in Meridian, Idaho. They knew it wouldn't hold them for too long, but it was all they could afford. There was enough room to manufacture and store products and space for employees, but not enough money to pay them. Together with their family and friends, the Thompsons poured, cooled, packed and shipped all the wickless candles themselves. So when Scentsy first started, literally, the whole family came together to manufacture the products. Like, that's how much they loved, like, that's how much they knew that they loved it, and they had a vision. Okay, Heidi's parents, Alice and Fred, pitched in and worked 7 days a week at no salary for nearly 2 years. Scentsy's early consultants often showed up to help pack and ship their own party orders, and Orville's mother joined right in to help them when she came to visit. So just think about that. Think about where we're at now and think about where it started, and consultants used to rock up to Heidi and Orville's shipping container and help them pack the orders themselves. In June 2006, Scentsy doubled its square footage, moving to a new 500,000 square foot facility with warehouse space for manufacturing and shipping and office space for its growing staff. But it was only a matter of months before the company outgrew that location too. After less than a year on Adkins Drive in Meridian, Scentsy was already sorely in need of more space. It was time for a bold move. Orville found a building in Meridian that was with enough space to accommodate Scentsy's growth, but when he approached the property owner in March 2007 to talk about terms, the owner thought that Scentsy's revenue projections at 400% growth by the year's end were unreasonable. Not willing to give up, Orville cut his projections by half and met with the landlord again. Hours before Scentsy's annual convention in July 2007, the landlord finally agreed to lease the space to Scentsy, and incidentally, Scentsy's growth in 2007, more than 600%, was in line with Orville's original unreasonable projections. So he projected it would grow by 400%. The only way he got the lease on his property was to half that, because they basically told him, you're crazy. It increased by 600%. Scentsy's new 42,000 square foot location at 3698 East Lanark Street housed most of Scentsy's operations. Including new office space for its growing staff, Scentsy moved in just in time for the very busy holiday selling season. If you think this is busy now, you haven't seen anything as we approach Christmas. At the time, neither of the Thompsons believed Scentsy would ever fill the space. In October 2007, the company opened a 14,000 square foot distribution centre near Chicago to accommodate the company's growth in the eastern United States. In June 2008, Scentsy began to automate, speeding up production with a custom-designed candle bar injection machine. Christened Alice in honour of Heidi's mother and her generous service to the company. In August 2008, the company installed a second candle bar injection machine, appropriately named Fred, in honour of Heidi's stepfather and his donated time. So when I tell you they're a family-based company, like they named the machines after her parents, their whole family came together to get this company off the ground and worked 7 days a week, 24 hours a day to get this running. And remember, like I just said, this is where it all started. Several additional automated candle bar injection machines joined Alice and Fred later that year. By the end of 2008, Scentsy filled more than 100,000 square feet in the East Lanark building. In July 2010, Scentsy upgraded to a new facility. This time, most of the company's Meridian, Idaho staff, excluding shipping and manufacturing personnel, moved to a new space across the street in the East Lanark location. This new 65,000 plus square foot location will buy the company some much needed elbow room as it continued to grow. East Lanark continues to house the company's warehouse and shipping operations along with Scentsy's Wellness Centre, a full service gym with a full-time fitness trainer available at no cost to all employees and at a very low cost to their spouses. Now, how often do I talk to you about the benefits of exercise and mental health? Scentsy and Heidi and Orville know how important that is to their employees. So at head office in Meridian in Idaho, there is a full-time gym and fitness centre available for all their employees to keep them in the best mental health they possibly can. Now, if that's not a company caring about their employees, I don't know what is. Okay. As Scentsy employees stretched their legs into the new facility, they also celebrated 6 years in business with a 6-pack give back, 6 volunteer events in Idaho's Treasure Valley. Together with consultants, friends, families and suppliers, Scentsy employees donated blood, sweat and time to support the Susan K. Komen Race for the Cure. The Scentsy team had 2,200 participants. Boise's Paint the Town event, the Red Cross, Dress for Success with the Women and Children's Alliance, Wednesday's Child and 20 family-owned Treasure Valley businesses. So basically, they are all about giving back. That was the point of that paragraph. They're all about giving back and they're always giving to charity. They literally are the Scentsy, what you'll hear Heidi and Orville say all the time, give more than you take, and they 100% live by those rules. Automation and expansion continued at a rapid pace in 2010. In March 2010, Alice and Fred were retired and replaced by custom-designed, high-speed wickless candle manufacturing equipment, affectionately named Alice 2 and Fred 2. At the start of 2011, Scentsy announced big plans: a 50-acre campus with a 157,000 square foot office tower, a 159,000 square foot distribution centre and a 105,000 square foot warehouse. Construction on the campus began almost immediately. And this is head office today. So it started at this, and this is head office today. As Scentsy worked to accommodate its continued growth at home, the company also began looking beyond its continental borders. In April 2011, Scentsy expanded to Europe with a successful launch in both the UK and Germany. By the end of the year, the company had also launched in Ireland. Progress continued on the new campus. The Scentsy rail line, which continues to run right up to the new campus, was completed and celebrated with a golden spike ceremony. And in late summer, Scentsy moved into its new manufacturing building and distribution centre. In September 2011, the company also opened a new 146,000 square foot distribution facility in Texas to better serve consultants and customers in the Southwest. Throughout the year, Scentsy was recognised in a variety of ways, from Heidi being named the Idaho Business Review Woman of the Year to again being included in the top 500 list, ranked this time among the top 100. The company continued to devote a large portion of its resources to charitable causes through events like its Halt the Hunger campaign, which raised more than $600,000 for the Idaho Food Bank, and the Scentsy Teeter Totathon, which raised money for seven children's charities. And Orville once again took up raising sheep with his father in his spare time. What began in 2003 as a simple idea inspired by an ordinary woman has since become a thriving international business. Orville and Heidi, along with thousands and thousands of Scentsy consultants and customers, have created something extraordinary that touches lives every day in profound ways. Orville says it best: through the power of our fragrances, the simplicity of our product line, and a deep sense of family at home and at work, we find hope, vision, and an appetite for working hard as a team that binds us together. With Scentsy, we have each found something that speaks to and encourages the best versions of ourselves and each other. Oh, I got through it without crying. But I think you can understand from that and from my voice and from what I've shown you what they stand for, where they've come from. So look, they came from this, and they were $700,000 in debt to this, and that comes from hard work and grit and determination. But they are honestly the most family focused people you will ever meet. So please know, I just needed you to know in these really uncertain times what they stand for and where they come from, and every single thing they do is for us. And when we can get to an event, and when you hear them speak, and when you listen to them, and when you meet them, you will feel that, because they just give off an aura, because they are the most authentic, incredible people you will ever meet. And that is why I am so passionate about, I don't want to say defending, because that's the wrong word, because there's nothing to defend, but explaining why grumbling and moaning about shipping is really, really unnecessary, or not understanding. It's just about not understanding, really, that they're really. I need everyone to understand how hard they're working to try and get us all through this period in the best way we possibly can, so we come out the other side with a strong, thriving business. Key, exactly, they are so genuine. With a strong, thriving business that prepares us to go into autumn winter season with the best foundation we possibly can, with stock levels the best we possibly can. So anyway, that was my Sunday night story time. I hope it resonated. I hope you understand a little bit more where they came from, where they are now. They're not there. I know now they are $1 billion business, but when they started, they weren't, and they literally built their business from the ground up through blood, sweat, and tears, exactly like every single one of us has and can and will continue to do. So I hope that helped. That was just a little bit impromptu, and I just wanted to give you a little bit of history about the company. And about what they stand for, and it's 100% what I stand for, and I'm proud to represent Scentsy just the same as every single one of you are. So I hope you can hear it. I'm going to get my phone sorted out tomorrow, and I'll see you later. Alright guys, bye.